Greetings, programs! Today we're going to talk about the Mechwarrior Online skill tree system that was added to the game just under 2 weeks ago. We're going to talk about the good things, the bad things, and a few ugly things along the way. I will say off the top, though, that I do think the skill tree is a good thing for gameplay in Mechwarrior Online. I do think there's things that could be improved and some things that could have been done better. While I'm talking about these things, I'm going to play some of the BattleTech backer gameplay video I've recorded over the last couple days. So let's get started. Alright, so let's talk about some of the good. The first good thing to say is, hey, you know what? Balance is not bad after the skill tree. I don't think it's any worse than it was before. And that's a good thing. And I don't mean that like a backhanded compliment. The biggest fear a lot of people had with the skill tree is the fact that, you know what? The skill tree for the Inner Sphere and the clan is the same. So now clan mechs that didn't have quirks before can now get quirks via the skill tree. Luckily, that hasn't been the case. It hasn't thrown off balance too far, and that's a good thing. And I think part of the reason is the next good thing, the way the structure quirks work. Any structure quirks a mech had are cumulative to the structure quirks that they receive for the skill tree. So that's revived some mechs that we haven't seen. Dragons and Vindicators are seen in the queues now. They're actually viable and fun to play. Mislinks and Gargoyles and Victors also benefited from this, and there's many other mechs that benefited because it's cumulative. It actually, I believe, multiplies it, so you get a nice bonus between the existing structure quirks and the skill tree stuff that you get by unlocking nodes, so that's a good thing. Another good thing to talk about is the engine desync. I know a lot of people hear me say engine desync and they automatically think bad, and honestly, before PTS2, I would have agreed with you. I think you should get an advantage for taking the biggest engine possible to help with torso twist. I think that's a good thing. Maybe it didn't need to be as good as it was, and I think that's where we got to the engine desync. There have been some mechs that have improved from this, Kit Foxes and other mechs that had low engine caps, but were in classes that were more mobile, even mediums that had low engine caps. Anything at a low engine cap got a pretty good boost from this, because now they are as maneuverable as some of the existing mechs in their classes. I do think the Timberwolf got a little extra nerfed. If you especially compare it to the other 75-ton mechs, it's way out of balance as far as its left, right, and turn. But, you know, the Timberwolf has been the best mech in the game for 2 years, one of the best mechs at least, and so maybe it's just time for its reign to end. I hope that's not the case. My guess is I think the Timberwolf will get adjusted eventually. And I also think the assaults could use an adjustment up a little bit. I still think they're a little sluggish, and the torso twist on them is a little slow. And really, in the long run, while the structure quirks in, say, the Atlas are big, being not able to twist and share that armor around your body while you're getting shot could lower your time to kill eventually. So that's a good thing. I think they need to adjust how the assaults. I'd like to see them a little bit more maneuverable. But overall, you know, those are good things that happen out of the skill tree. Time to kill is up. We're seeing mech variety, mechs we haven't seen before. Hopefully that plays out, continues to play out. And of course, the desync didn't seem to really kill any mechs that were good. It just hurt a few here and there, and hopefully those will be adjusted. So let's talk about a few of the not so hot things, or the bad. The bad off the top, I still don't like the amount of nodes. I think 240 are too much. 91 points per mech is too much. I think they can cut it all down. I don't think I should have to click through 3.75s, because I would take those anyway, right? If I'm trying to get something that I want, and I click through 3.75s to get there, that just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't see the need for that. Maybe those will go away with some skill tree UI improvements and stuff like that. That would be great. But I don't think we need 91 points and 240 nodes. There's no real choice in that. You know, you can take the survivability and the mobility tree and still have weapons and still get sensors, and you can build this mech. You know, I don't think it's even specialized generalization that PGI put out. I'd love to see a system that had way less nodes, way less points available, where you're truly either a generalist, where you have to take a little bit from each tree, or you're a specialist where you can load up on, say, the structure tree or and survivability tree, and you don't have a lot of choice after that. That would be cool. That's real choice. Those are real decisions. One of the complaints about the old skill tree was stuff like Pinpoint and the arm thing didn't do much or anything at all in the case of Pinpoint, and to their credit, they removed them. They even removed the arm skill from the skill tree that was in PTS, so thanks for doing that. So we got stuff that we still didn't need. Nobody cares about speed retention. Very few people wanted hill climb. Those were noob trap modules in the game, and now they're in the skill tree. And we have to take them if you want some of this stuff, and I just don't think they should be there. They should be gone. Let's lower the node count. I think UI improvements would be great. Anything to do copy and pasting will help. Maybe as simple, if I click the bottom of a skill tree, it'll get me the quickest path to that node. And those would be some things that would be improvements to the skill tree. The next thing I want to talk about is the reset cost. I hate the reset cost. Now, it doesn't bother me. Really, I have like 9,000 GSP, so I don't care about reset cost. But I still don't think it should be there. I'm looking beyond what's good for me. If I unlock a node, it should be unlocked. Should not have to pay to redo it. I understand kind of why they're doing it. They want a XP sink, I guess. I mean, then raise the initial cost of the node. I mean, people hate the node cost as it is now, but raise it up and let it be unlocked. Instead of, 800 now? Make it 1,000 and the node's unlocked all the time. I just would like to see that go away. The other thing that is starting to appear, though, we were talking about time to kill and gameplay effects. One of the gameplay effects that's kind of a bad is we're kind of seeing the rise of clan laser vomit again. I like clan laser vomit, I'm not going to lie. It's fun to play. It's not the funnest thing to play. It gets old after a while. It's one of those things I go back and forth to. But the changes in the skill tree have seemed to make clan laser vomit possibly the predominant style. We'll see as the weeks go on what happens. I still have a much more fun jump sniping, and I know people hate that, but there's some real skill in jump sniping. You gotta jump, get your mech out just enough to take a shot. Lead that shot. If you're firing PPCs and Gauss, you may fire your PPC before your Gauss to make sure they hit the target at the same time. You're leading your target. Same with ballistics. Even if you're not jump sniping, any kind of ballistic, you have to lead. There's a little more skill in that than putting your mouse on the mech and clicking it as a laser. That's just the way it is. Some people have complained about LRMs have made this resurgent. I don't really see that as a bad thing. I don't see it as a good thing. LRMs weren't changed. The biggest thing is people aren't taking radar derp, and so they're not used to knowing how to deal with them. I deal with alarms just fine. I run around in an ECM mech too. That helps. I know people haven't been taking the ECM nodes, and ECM has been changed, and maybe they didn't realize that. I think as the time goes on, you'll see the LRM go back down to where it was before. In the end, LRMs are still the least effective weapon in the game, so if they happen to get an indirect buff because people aren't taking radar derp, fine. And of course also people can take more consumables now, so there's more UAVs around, so remember to shoot down those UAVs, and that might help some of your problems with alarms. So let's talk about some of the ugly things. There's only really two ugly things. One of them is kind of personal to me. The other one is real simple. The Timberwolf C Steam version in PTS2 couldn't accelerate. It had a bug that they set the acceleration decel rate completely wrong. For some reason, that carried on into production, and that bugs me. And part of that is, I know I've been in software development for 20 years, so that probably bugs me more than other people. But it really bothers me that their process appears to be that bad that it wasn't taken care of in the PTS and was pushed into production. Just like when they turned off faction play before they did the skill tree patch. Apparently, they didn't know turning off faction play would break the group queue. We had to tell Russ on Twitter it was broken. They had no idea. So things like that really make me wonder what their QA and testing process is. And I understand that it may just be me and other people who are in software development, because it's just bad. It's bad process. It's bad something. Bad management. And I don't mean like Rust management. I mean management of the process. I don't know. But that's just one of those things that bug me. The other thing is very personal to me. For whatever reason, the skill tree gives me a headache when I use it. I don't know if it's the small text, I don't know if it's the number of nodes, I don't know if it's what it is, but the longer I use the skill tree, the more my head hurts. I'm not saying this to be dramatic. I'm not trying to make a big deal of this, but it's hard to enjoy trying to figure out the skill tree when it makes your head hurt. I'm hoping some of the UI optimizations and quality of life things will come along. I'd really like them to get rid of a lot of the nodes. My guess is they're not going to do that. PGI seems stuck on the 91 nodes and 240 nodes and 91 points, and fine. But right now it gives me a headache, and it doesn't make it enjoyable. It's not the most enjoyable thing anyway. It's even less enjoyable when your head hurts. So hopefully, for me personally, some of the UI improvements that are going to come in future patches will fix my personal issue of making my head hurt the more I do the skill tree. And to wrap here, I'm going to talk about two things. One of them is related to the skill tree. Um, it's real simple. I know there's a lot of people out there who have a lot of mechs. I have 200 plus mechs. I know some people have all of the mechs, which is 400 something. And they've been complaining about redoing the skill tree. And I feel for you. It's not easy. And I know some of you guys are completionists. I can appreciate that. You want to have all your mechs ready to go, even if you're not going to play it in 6 months. I understand. And I'm not making fun of you for being like that. I think that's great. But you were going to have to do it in one way or another. Yeah, it would have been a lot easier if there weren't as many nodes and there weren't as many node points and there were some UI interfaces to make copy and paste. Yes, absolutely, that would have made it better. But you were going to have to do it. I mean, if they were going to redo the skill tree, they were going to reset the existing skills. So you were going to have to redo it. And I'm sorry, I feel for you. I don't know what to tell you. It sucks, yeah, you're right. The only other option would be PGI to fill it out for you. I don't know how they would do that. Take the default stock loadout and apply the quirks they think that made the best. Yeah, no, I don't want them to do that. I would rather respect the mech on my own. So, I'm sorry. It sucks. But you know what? I think you're just going to have to deal with it one way or the other. Hopefully in a few months, when some of these UI improvements that I hope they're working on and I hear they're working on get into the game, it'll make it a lot easier for you people who like to have a lot of mechs ready to go. And I can understand that. I'm not making fun of you or anything. I just don't know what to tell you. I'm sure PGI is flustered by it too, because they're like, oh, well, I don't know what else we could have done. We had to reset the skills, and there was no way for them to fill them out for you. The last thing I want to talk about really has nothing to do with the skill tree. Since we've had the info draw PTS, there's been this thing going around about, PGI doesn't listen to the right people. Well, are they only not listening to the right people because they didn't agree with you? No, they're not. PGI's listening, and they are. I honestly can say that I feel that they are listening. But you know what? They don't always listen to the things I want to do, and that's okay. It's not my job for them to tell them they have to listen to me. It's their job. It's their job to take feedback, see what it is. Hopefully they read it all well, and decide if it's valid or not. Sure, some of us have been very disappointed about some of the decisions. I will personally say I was kind of disappointed at how offhandedly they seemed to dismiss Salama's skill tree. I thought it was a very nice mock-up of skill tree. But that's their decision. That's what they do. They are the software developer. We are not. Some of us are software developers. Some of us are programmers and that. But you know what? We don't work for PGI. But it's PGI's job to decide what is valid feedback and not. I know people were making fun or saying they were stupid about people getting refunds after PTS 1 because they didn't like how they were going to lose progress. Well, that's still feedback. It's voting with your wallet. It's the ultimate feedback. I'm not happy with what you're doing. Give me a refund. I voted with my wallet recently. The opposite way. I was happy with how PGI handled the Wave 2 and 3 heroes and the PTS 1 feedback. So I bought a mech pack because I liked what they were doing. And someone's going to say, oh, you just bought that mech pack because they were listening to you. Well, yeah, probably. But they're listening. And so that doesn't really matter if they happen to agree with me or not. I appreciated that they listened. Even if they didn't necessarily agree with it, if I didn't necessarily agree with it, I liked how they handled it. I think I would have done the same thing. I just happened to agree with what they did for PTS 1 and the Clan Wave and 2 heroes, so it makes it a little easier to swallow, no doubt. But the idea that we go and attack these people, I had someone tell me I'm bullying Russ on Twitter. Okay, I don't mean to, I'm just giving him feedback. Maybe it comes across snarky every now and then, and it probably is, because I'm sarcastic at times, and sorry, it happens. I try not to be. I try to be constructive as I can be. We all get frustrated, though. But to attack the people, the tryhards, or the comp players, or the casual players, or the role players, or whatever group of people you want to put them in that you think are influenced the decision is counterproductive. It's PGI's job to filter through feedback and decide whether that feedback is worth acting on. They decided it was worth acting on with a lot of things recently. Energy Draw, Infotech, PTS, the Clan Wave 2 and 3 heroes. They listened for the good, what I understand, with the Resistance heroes. They changed them around and made them better. That's great. So they did the same thing with Wave 2 and 3, but people didn't like that one for some reason. I guess because they disagreed. But that's not it. They're listening. appear to be listening now more than they ever have before, and that's great. And we should be happy with that. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I've never done this before, and I may do a few more in the future. I just figured it was easier than writing it down on Reddit. But anyway, thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed the Hairbrained Schemes Battletech gameplay that was playing up until now. I'm really enjoying that game. It's a lot of fun. And I'll see you on the game grid.